Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Justin Davis, your host today. Please do click subscribe because you're going to see tons of new racer drones coming to the channel each week. We have loads and loads of video and content to share with you guys for all types of RC and tech reviews. Now we have something new from our friends here at GearBest.com today. It is a Cheerson Jumper CX91. It is the ultimate beginner drone package. They sent us the version with the goggles here and the FPV monitor. It has everything you need to get started in flying FPV racing. So if you're interested in that, this is a great package. We're going to go outside real quick. We're going to do a flight demo. I'm going to show you some of the different modes and how cool this thing is in the air. Hopefully I don't crash it. Then we'll come back in the studio and we'll do some more unboxing, and I'll show you what is inside this box and what's included. So I'll see you out of the field. Hey guys, this is the Drone Camp's field review of the Jumper made by Cheerson. This is the CX91. Comes with everything you need to fly, and it's pretty much a beginner to intermediate drone. So I'm going to go ahead and set this one down, and I'll go ahead and plug in the battery. First, I have the battery secured on the bottom here underneath the Velcro strap. You should definitely do this to make sure this is not flapping around underneath the quad. Now I'm going to turn on the radio itself. Does a little chime for startup, and then turn on the monitor, and I should be seeing some FPV output there. There we go. Hopefully you can see that in the monitor. Not a whole lot of lag here, which is really nice. I'm going to try to start the video first before I take off. So now the screen blanked once. That might have been a photo. Let's see, let's do it again. Let's push and hold and go down and see if it starts to blink. Okay, so go down for your video to start, up for photo. Now to arm this one, it's a little different. You're going to go down and to the right to arm. So I'm going to make sure first before I take off that my antenna is tight. I did see it loosened up a little bit there. You want to make sure this is nice and tight on the VTX, because if the antenna is not tight, it can come loose and burn up your video transmitter. So new guys, don't turn on your power system until this is nice and tight on there, especially if you don't have one on there at all. It could probably burn the VTX up. So LEDs are green in the back. I did arm it. We're good to go. And I'm recording video as well, so, and it wants to climb right away. Pretty quiet, very quiet quad. I'm going to come in a little closer and do a horizontal punch out. Nice. Wow, you can really see those LEDs on the front even during the daytime. Very nice. And I can still see my video monitor there. Got my camera angle. I probably should have checked that before I took off, but it looks like it might be a little bit high. Probably about 20 degrees, but that'll help out when we're flying forward. Kind of bouncing around a little bit up there, but you know what? This is a race quad, you guys, not really for aerial photography. But it's nice they have an onboard DVR there. And like I always say, it's going to oscillate on the way down, so as you're going through your prop wash. LEDs are nice for the rear too, so you can really see where you're at orientation wise. Really smooth flyer. I'm cruising about half throttle right now. Just cruising around the field. So beginners, take note, this is definitely an easy one to fly. If you're looking for something that visually you can learn how to fly out in front of you first with the monitor, and then move up to the goggles next. That's definitely the way to do it if you're just getting into this. Start out with the monitor and line of sight flying like I'm doing right here, and then move up to the goggles. You also need to have some other people around when you're flying goggles. Say you have a spotter so you can see people left and right of you if you have a trail or you're flying in the park. Definitely don't want to hit someone with this one. So it doesn't have GPS on this one, so it does drift quite a bit. So you're not going to get that GPS lock on there, kind of help you along This one's totally manual flying, although it does have stabilization. So when I let go of the stick, it rewrites itself. You can see that there. Accelerometer is pretty quick on here to react. And it's giving me probably 30 degrees worth of tilt in this first mode. And I can go into expert mode in just a second, and I'll show you how it does flips and rolls. We'll see if it has any stabilization in there. Seems like I got a hummingbird chasing me there. The hummingbirds do not like this quad. It might be the frequency of the noise of it. Definitely awesome that you can see those headlights in the front. Green ones in the rear. Let's go ahead and come in closer and we'll flip into that expert mode. Hopefully I don't crash it. All right, here comes that hummingbird again. Okay, here we go, guys. We're gonna flip into expert mode. Does need to be trimmed to the right just a little bit. There we go. That's a nice stable hover. Okay, let's go ahead. Now I'm in expert mode. I'm gonna check out the tilt. So pretty good tilt on this expert mode. If you're wanting something similar to rate mode or acro mode as we call it in the race community, you got something very similar to that. This would pretty much be like horizon mode if you're using clean flight, but like I said, this quad doesn't have clean flight or something programmable. What you get is what you get on here. So there is your roll rate. That's not bad for your beginner. Keep your rolls up kind of high when you're first practicing. Very capable to do rolls forward, backward, right and left. I like it a lot better in this expert mode because it is a lot quicker. Look at that. This wants to really get going. Now if you go too far with the stick, boom, it's going to do a flip. So keep that in mind in expert mode if you're using this to race. Another thing I have to mention about this is that this does come with 4 bands, 32 channels, switchable. So if you're going out to a race and you just want to get into some beginner race, some novice races, you can do that with this quad because you have race band on here, which is really nice. So race band will allow you to switch channels and fly with the other guys in your competitions. Some of the multi-GP race groups, local chapters are starting to do novice races as well, and they're separating the expert guys from the beginners. So now we have a new beginner class opening up in multi-GP. Very, very nice for people just getting into it. A lot of our viewers are just getting into it, just cutting their teeth in the drone flying pilot craze. Very nice though. Does easy flips. You can kind of throttle up and loosen up on your throttle when you come out of the flip. So I hear my low voltage battery alarm going off, so that means I should bring it in. If you do hear that, if you take heed in that warning, you're going to save your battery. Now keep in mind this is flying on 3S, so it's going to be a lot more tame than if I was flying this on 4S. I'm going to go ahead and disarm it real quick. Stick down to the left. Hey guys, welcome back from the field. Now let's take a closer look at the CX-91. I'll go ahead and take the top off for you. Let's just jump right into the drone itself first. Now this is definitely a beginner style drone, something that you can grow with and learn. It doesn't have a programmable onboard flight controller like some of them do, like with Naze 32, F3 boards, and CC3E. This is kind of a standalone flight controller, so you don't have any functions in here that you have to mess around with. So as a new person getting into this, that is and can be a good thing. So all your controls and switches are simply on the SWA switch on the right hand side of the controller over here that are expert and beginner mode. On the left hand side you have your video mode there and your photo mode, and we showed a couple of examples of that in the video previously to this one. So to keep a long story short with this quad, there's a lot included with it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and briefly tell you about some of the features of each component that's included with this. The canopy itself is actually pretty cool. I've seen a few different styles of canopy come out this year, and this one kind of has a race car look to it. Now what's neat about this is, check this out, you get two canopies. They snuck another one in the box for you with your CX-91. I don't know if some of you guys have noticed that yet, but you do get two, so that's really nice. You have an all-in-one board in here that includes all your components, and by the way, you know this is the upgraded version when you see this. This is 4 rows of chips across this board, and these are your ESCs that are embedded in this flight controller. Very, very nice. And your beeper here, it has your receiver wires here, and your Parrot Bebop style props. They give you 8 of these, by the way, in the box. Very nice. Standard XT60 comes along with this, so that's really important when you go to order a new battery. You want to run this on 3S 1600 milliamp, and that's the battery that comes with it. Make sure if you do order an extra battery, and I'll show you a link down below where you can grab another one of these as well, and some extra props. So that's really all you really have to worry about getting into this, is being able to order extra props, mainly because you're probably going to break them as a new person. Now, nice thing about this quad right away is that you do have LEDs front and rear, and the LEDs do tell you when it is activated, so it'll go into green from red, and it'll let you know when you're ready to fly. Arming this, like most of the other quads out there, is throttle stick to the bottom right, hold it for a second and go back to center, and then you can arm it and throttle up. You'll see these turn green. So in the back I do have this 5.8 cloverleaf antenna back here. It was falling left and right, so what I did was I took a little heat shrink here and I put it over top of the antenna. That way, on this plug right here, it makes it easier to screw in, as well as it doesn't turn left and right on me. So very important that you want to do that with your antenna. Now the carbon, there is no carbon fiber on here, so it is a composite industrial plastic frame. I think if you did crash this, that you could probably pull this main board off and put it on a new frame, as well as your motors. If you're a little bit handy, you could do that. It's not a very complex frame. You have a few screws here holding down the wires that run along the bottom of the arms, and 3 screws on the bottom of your motors. So you pull all of these screws off, set them to the side, and you could put a new body on this if you needed to. This camera, by the way, is tiltable, which is nice. Tiltable by hand, so you can change your camera angle depending on how aggressive you fly, and that's very important. As you grow into being a drone pilot, a racer pilot, you're going to want more tilt as you learn to fly more aggressively. Now, it does include an 8 GB micro SD card, which goes in the side of the camera in the back here. This is going to be your DVR for recording your flights. You can't do it from this guy over here. Like some of them, monitors do have built-in DVRs, but not this one. So that one's just for reviewing and also plugging in your VR glasses. So the VR glasses, by the way, they are a decent quality. For something that you get included with this, and this price point is actually pretty decent. It's fairly comparable to some of the lower end Fat Shark goggles, and it comes with a little accessory case as well, and some extra kind of sort of silicone rubber fitting that goes in there. They're not totally flush on my face with that silicone insert, so kind of might mod that myself and put some foam inserts on the side to sort of block some of that light that comes in the side there. So that's going to be important that you do that with these goggles, because you don't want light interfering with your flying, sort of giving you glare, any sort of glare in from the side. So that's the areas that you're going to want to put a little foam on the side, but might actually make them fit a little better to your head. Hey, and if you have a bigger head, probably not a big problem. But I have kind of a small head. I'm a small guy. So set these pins over here to the side, and I'll show you what else comes included with this. Now next up we have the box of props. That includes 8 props in here. Like I said before, that's nice that you get 2 sets. Also, this is your toolkit that comes along with this. Now, very important that I show you how to pull these props on and off really quickly. It comes with a special little tool, and like I said, this is almost identical to the Parrot Bebop. This little tool goes on the top, and then you can push the prop toward the right, and you can lift up on the prop, and the prop comes right off pretty easily. So you want to line those up with the two tall points of the motor. Push the prop down on top. Put your wrench right on top, and then you can push it over until it just kind of firmly goes into place. Make sure that these two top points of the motor are snug with the top of the prop there, and if you can see that. But very easy to pull these on and off, and you want to keep this wrench handy for sure. This is a special type of wrench that comes with this, so don't lose this. Also comes with a little screwdriver in your toolkit and your mini USB port reader. Pretty important if you want to download your videos to your computer to have that handy. And this was the box that came with the battery. My battery was actually on the jumper. And this is the balance charger that comes with it. Now, mine came with the Euro plug, so you're going to want to make sure that you get one of these. You need to have either one of these. It is a converter that is a standard Euro plug to a US American. You can pick these up on eBay for just a couple dollars. So if you get this plug in your package, don't freak out. Just order yourself one of these on Amazon and have it Amazon Prime to your doorstep in a day or two. Now, this charger is very typical to what I've seen in other RTFs coming out of China. This is simply a balanced plug charger, so you'll take your battery and plug it right into the port here, and you're good to go. So when the light turns green, very simply, your battery's ready to rock. Now, like a lot of other Cheerson products, the drone itself does like to be plugged in first, and then the transmitter. Turn the transmitter on afterwards, okay? And that way everything links up perfectly. So now we can see that I have pretty decent low level lag on this drone. It's very nice. And you have the LEDs there in the front, which help huge when you're out in the field and flying for your orientation. This is really nice. I could really see the front of the drone a lot when I was flying at LOS for you guys. Now you can see right there in the back that it is red, and now it's flashing green. When I want to arm, like I said before, if I want to arm, I can go stick to the bottom right like this and back to center and see the green lights come on. So now I'm ready to fly. Pretty easy to arm it. And then to disarm it, you're going to let it sit for a second, or you're going to go to the bottom left and hold it, and the lights will turn back to red. So pretty simple. Now let's take a quick brief look at the goggles themselves. This is your silicone insert that goes on the front of your specs there. Now there's a cable that comes along with this. One side has USB port for charging up your monitor, and when you plug in your goggles, they can also charge from the monitor as you're charging from USB. Now it is labeled on here VR glasses port, and it says video charging there. So take this side and put into your goggles, and this is how you're going to fly as well. So these actually plug in to the out port on the monitor. So now when I turn on my goggles up here at the top right, flip those on, now I should be seeing on the same channel as my VR monitor. So if you look inside there, I don't know if you can really see what's going on in there, probably not, but you can see a little bit. See, it's the same exact view as your screen. So like I said before, start out with flying your monitor first and then move up to the goggles, because this takes a little bit of practice flying from the goggles in situational awareness and kind of knowing where you are in relation to the copter and your surroundings. So you'll keep yourself from flying into a tree or obstacles if you first learn how to fly or line of sight. Learn that backwards and forwards, and then, you know, work with your monitor and then move up to these. But very nice that all this comes together in this package for actually a pretty amazing price for what you get. Not bad at all. So let's go ahead now and let's give it a star rating. Let's go ahead and talk about the quality of the build. I think the quality of the build for what it is for beginners is actually much better than what I've seen for some of the other toy quads. So it does have a lot of qualities to it that are pluses. One of the biggest pluses is that the frame is decently durable. It does bounce pretty easily when it hits the ground. The props have a lot of give on them, so they will flex a lot in your crashes. You're probably not going to break too many of these props. They're decently durable. The camera is recessed fairly well underneath the canopy, and the canopy is going to provide a little bit of protection for your camera. And it does stick, it doesn't protrude out from the front of the frame, so when you go in for a forward crash, the arms are going to hit first, arms and props. And from the rear, the camera, a VTX antenna back here is in a great position. A lot of pro flyers fly with their antennas coming out on a horizontal fashion like this one is set up, and then we bend them up just a little bit so polarization can go out in an effective manner to the goggles and the monitor. So your monitor will be facing, or your antenna will be facing sort of a horizontal aspect like that as you fly forward. So kind of important to bend this up. And like I said, put a little zip, not a little zip tie, put a little heat shrink over top of this antenna back here as well, and that connector, so it doesn't move anywhere. But if I had to give it a star rating for beginners, I'm going to go ahead and say around 4.5 on this. I probably could say a 5. Me as a professional, the only reason I would take a half a point off would be maybe these sort of proprietary style props. I don't like it that I have to use the same brand props, but you know, try some Parrot Bebop props. You might actually be able to just go down to your local store and get some replacement Parrot Bebop props. They might fit, they might not, but they look very similar, so you might be able to do that. Everything else on here though is very nice. And the canopy design, LEDs, the power to weight ratio with the 3S is very good for beginners. I always tell beginners to start out flying 3S instead of flying 4S, because 4S, when you go up to 4S, there's a ton of power difference. You have lots and lots of increased power to the motors and ESCs. And on 3S, you're not likely to burn up your system, so you can handle the power system that's on here. So don't try to go 4S, guys, right away. And I'm not totally sure that this can handle 4S, by the way. So that's been our review of the Jumper, the CX91, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really liked flying this one. I always enjoy Cheerson, so I look forward to see what they have coming in the future. But thanks again for hanging out with us and watching the channel. Please do click subscribe, because I would love to see you watch more of our videos and show you what's coming up next. So thanks again for hanging out. I'll see you on the next one.